only 6 days you shall labor and do all your work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. Who does the seventh day, Saturday, the Sabbath belong to? The Lord your God. So it's the Lord's day. What day is the Lord's day? Which day is the Sabbath day?
Saturday.
The Lord's day, the Sabbath day, we're talking about the same day. The seventh day. Look on a calendar. Saturday, seventh day of the week. Look at a dictionary. Saturday, seventh day of the week. Look at encyclopedias. Saturday, seventh day of the week.
I believe you.
God wrote and spoke. In it you shall do no work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Now what part of that don't we understand? God has given to us the Sabbath rest, and he says don't work on that day.
That's
now,
right.
Of course, it's okay to preach and teach. Jesus did that on the Sabbath, and the apostles did that, of course. And Jesus healed on the Sabbath. So obviously, hospitals, nursing homes, obviously this is appropriate as well. But God says, secular work, lay it aside. Just like Jesus would not do his carpentry on the Sabbath. Instead, he went to church on the Sabbath, according to Luke 4:16. So Jesus kept and commanded the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath. Mark 2:28. Now, after the Sabbath, as the first day of the week began to dawn. Notice, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. Jesus rose on the first day of the week, but it never calls the first day of the week the Lord's Day. Instead, the Bible always calls the day before Sunday, it calls it the Sabbath. So God never said honor the first day of the week and honor the resurrection. No, he said to honor the seventh-day Sabbath. Even Jesus, in his death, rested in the tomb on the seventh-day Sabbath. Okay, so that's Matthew 28:1. Of how much more value then is a man than a sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath. Matthew 12:12. So he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as his custom or habit, tradition was, he went into the synagogue church on the Sabbath day and stood up to read. I say if it's good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for Mark Fox. Luke 4:16. Jesus went to church on the Sabbath. Now I can go to church 7 days a week. I can go to church Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. But my primary day of worship must be on the Sabbath day. All right? So, some say, well, Mark, doesn't Paul say all days are alike? Wait a minute. Paul and John are going to be in agreement. And many people misapply Paul's writings. You got to be careful. The Bible makes it very clear. Revelation 1:10. I was in the spirit of the Lord's day. Oh, all days are not alike. I was in the spirit of the Lord's day. So there's one day that is the Lord's day. And that's the seventh day. And I heard behind me a loud voice as of a trumpet. So the Lord's day is still holy. God will have a people in the last days that are described this way. Here is the patience, the endurance, the perseverance of the saints. Here are those who keep the commandments of God, including all of the 10 commandments, including the seventh-day Sabbath.